You ready for the big heat wave?
Ready or not, here it comes.
It looks real. I guess 3 days that those hot temperatures really starting tomorrow. We're going to be close to the 90 mark. Wednesday, 95. They're forecasting across, sort of general temps. And then Thursday, J-Dog, looks to be the real hot one, almost upwards of 100 degrees.
Oh,
so hydrate.
Get ready for it, right?
Hydrate, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's start with the basics. By the way, did you have a good weekend?
I did. The Guardians had a good weekend. The Red Sox had a much better weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sweeping the Yankees, huh?
Swept them. 4 games. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 4.
After the ups and downs they've had this season. Yeah. And who do they have tonight? The Nationals?
They host the Washington Nationals in the first of a 3-game interleague series.
Given the season they've had, I was looking at some of the walk-off or the late inning heroics, and it looked like they had won the pennant, the American League pennant.
This is as close as they're going to get in all probability. I mean, they've got to really have an insurmountable comeback in them. So this is their World Series this past weekend.
All right, now before we get to the heavy-duty stuff, sports. You mentioned the sports right there, but World Cup continues. It's we're getting into some of that. I guess they call it the knockout stuff.
Yep.
And Wimbledon underway.
Yep.
And the Travelers, by the way, Victor Hovland and Scotty Scheffler will be facing off right about now. They're out there trying to finish up. They were knotted up last night when it got dark as they'd had a rain delay at the Travelers in Connecticut. So they're continuing this morning. All right. This is an interesting one. J-Dog and I were talking before the show about this. So we may get into this today, or we may not. But it's a subject of our poll question up on X at the Pulse of an H. And it has to do with the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial, the whole talk of the Trump administration redoing the painting of that and then algae and all that, and whether or not it backfired and it was a multi-million-dollar kind of fix-up of the pool. And then reports of vandalism, people cutting the lining, some other things. There's been controversies. Doug Burgum, the Secretary of the Interior, former governor, ran for president. I met him. He was up in New Hampshire. A very straight-laced, straight-shooter person, Doug Burgum, announcing over the weekend that this is an attack on national monuments, that the people who arrested are going to be prosecuted. And yet there's no middle ground on even this story. If you say there was any vandalism, people start coming out of the woodwork yelling, Trump, 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 and whatever. So I don't know. We're just asking the poll question on X at the Pulse of Nature. Do you think there was any vandalism recently at the reflecting pool? Yes or no? We're just trying to gauge this. I posted the Burgum story over the weekend, and I said, well, this is too bad. And even our own Alicia Preston Xanthopoulos, Seacoast Online, was coming at me saying, are you kidding me? This is all Trump, Trump. I'm like, oh, my goodness. So she can call in anytime. She knows that. She has a home here. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Google. Good morning, New Hampshire. Good morning, Maine. Good morning, New England. Good morning, worldwide. Play the Pulse of an H. So let's get back to, I guess, the weather this week. We're going into July 4th. Oh, by the way, in the next hour, each day this week, Sue Polidora, who was on with us Friday, has pulled together some great Independence Day facts about New Hampshire and the formation of this country, America. And she's going to share with us at 10:20 each morning this week a little-known fact that should not be little known. It should be widely known. But these are great pieces of history in early New Hampshire's history for the independence, and we were a pivotal state in many, many ways. And this history is wonderful. It's entertaining, it's rich, it's inspirational. More people should know it. So this week we're trying to share some history with you about Independence Day and about New Hampshire and the role it played and some unknown stuff that you might not know. And it's really wonderful. I think they're true treasures and treasures. Saturday, of course, July 4th, 2:50. A lot of fireworks are going to be going on, and we have real summer heat and real summer weather this week going into the 4th. And as I just said, it really starts. Today's, by the way, beautiful. We're going to have mid-80s, sunshine today. So today will be the more comfortable. And then we start getting hotter each day through Thursday into Friday. Thursday should be the hottest, up near 100, may set some records. We have Dean Spiliotis coming on today in a moment. We're going to talk about the latest. There are some poll numbers. I won't get too much into them today, but where are the New Hampshire races? Where's New Hampshire's electorate? Where is the mood? What is the mood? Where is the mood here in the Granite State among Republicans, Independents, and Democrats? Now, keep in mind, we're going to have some polling numbers in the Senate matchup. Chris Pappas, the leading Democrat, but he has challengers, and they may be doing better than these polls are showing. And you have John Sununu and Scott Brown among the Republicans in the U.S. Senate matchup, congressional races, governor's race, where incumbent Governor Kelly Ayotte, how's she shaping up? Cindy Warmington is the lead apparent Democrat nominee, State House, State Senate. Where's New Hampshire? But the problem with polling is how accurate is it? Typically we are from an era where these polls on midterms and presidential or general election, always like the margin of error they'd say was, 4 to 6%. But polling has always been very subjective. And I don't want to go back to the last election when they told us we wouldn't know the results of the presidential election between Harris and Trump for weeks or months. Yeah, I remember that. Weeks or months, the day of the election. Weeks or months before we knew who won the Electoral College, and we knew that night. But the polling, I don't know about you. Have you been surveyed? Have you taken part in a survey as a New Hampshire voter or likely voter? Has anyone contacted you? Have you given any information on how you're going to vote at this point? And they're making a big deal of the Trump fatigue, the anti-Trump feeling in New Hampshire, especially among independent voters. But are independent voters even showing up in these polls? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I can tell you, I think it's very tough to read. But I do feel that at this point, the whole war, and I can't blame people. I've been critical of this for a long time, trying to end this thing. But the whole war with Iran is really weighing on people's nerves. And you just heard, Mike Pompeo talking about the average price of a gallon of regular gasoline, price of oil per barrel is now down to pre-war with Iran prices, but the whole thing drags on. And, we had skirmishes over the weekend. And are we talking again? Are there going to be more talks? And I say Qatar versus Qatar. But the Iranians, the Islamic State, I'm very pessimistic during this next few weeks on the verification of the uranium and nuclear stuff that we're going to verify or be able to trust them on anything. So I don't know how we reach a definitive final agreement. I really don't until, the Islamic State is really not calling the shots over there. But this thing is just a mess, and it's wearing on, I think, the public opinion. And I don't think it's favoring or helping the president and therefore Republicans. But that's some commentary. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about that. A little bit later on, we'll introduce you to one of our great community colleges. Doug Tengden will weigh in on the economic front. 10 o'clock hour, as I shared with you, we're going to have some of those historical facts as we go into Independence Day, and should be a good one, 250, despite these polls that show that, as I said on Thursday and Friday show, nearly 70% of young Democrats in America, and I would define that as under 40, have a more favorable view of socialism than our market-driven capitalism economy. Socialism. And you look at the percentage of people that are optimistic about the future of America, and here we go into July 4th. Well, you know what I say? We are still the freest, greatest nation, and try living in another country, and you'll miss our freedoms and our way of life real fast. But go ahead. It's a free world because of our freedoms. You can go anywhere if the other countries will take you, and tell me how that works for you. So do we have problems? Sure. Do we have divisions? Yes. Do we have stress? Sure. But are we still a great country, a great place where freedom is the one thing we should all agree on, is freedom. We should all agree that freedom is a pretty darn good thing in the live free or die state. We should also remember as we go into Independence Day, who maintains that freedom? Less than 1% serve our military. more than 340 million very entitled Americans. Freedom's a pretty good thing going into July 4th. Try living without it. Or remember your motto in this state, live free or die. Hey, Alexa, hey, Google, play the Pulse of an H. Back with Dean Spiliotis next.
It's more than baseball.
All right, welcome back. And we're also streaming on YouTube at the Pulse of an H if you want to watch the first hour. Dean Spiliotis, regular contributor, retired political science professor, the Southern New Hampshire University, SNHU, Penman Pride. Joining us on this Monday ahead of the heat wave. Good morning, Dean.
Hey, good morning, Jack.
I guess we're going to be getting I'm hearing from those who do these things, some polling numbers going into July 4th on the local political scene. I don't know if it's a big shocker. I think we can kind of feel the drag of the war in Iran and the ongoing grayness there. Oil prices are starting to come down. That's a good thing, but this thing can go sideways. And then, I don't know, just it's the old economy. I'm trying. I don't think things have changed much, but where do you sense the mood of New Hampshire voters are at this point?
Yeah, it's not great. I think there's going to be some relief with oil prices coming down a bit and gas prices coming down a bit. I think in some sense the Trump administration is kind of happy to have Iran fade off the headlines a little bit. It's now not the dominant news story in any given hour of cable news or even on social media. I think their belief is that we can have this kind of low level tit for tat of military engagement, continue negotiations, and as long as oil is getting through the strait, they believe that's a good thing for them politically. So that allows Trump to almost kind of move on a little bit, which he's clearly would like to do. It's an uphill battle in any event. We've only had two times since the 1930s when an incumbent president has made gains at the midterm. 2002, which was a rally effect after 9/11 for George W. Bush, and then in 1998, a little bit of a backlash after the Clinton impeachment. So it's very rare. The polling data right now doesn't look great for the Trump administration. We'll see where we are in a few months. But one of the biggest problems I see, Jack, is that Donald Trump doesn't embrace the idea that there's a problem with affordability. So he's not really in any rush to, propose any brand new ideas to deal with it. He says things are basically going great. Gas prices are coming down now. And he's focused on other things.
I think a lot of that is this perception that he's looking at the markets, the stock markets. And when you see these highs, he feels that things are going great, but he doesn't look at the working class, blue collar family that is not making more and everything's costing more. So at the end of the week, every 2 weeks or month, when they're going to pay their bills, they're getting tired of the cost of everything. But I think there's a feeling that if the markets are doing well, everyone's doing well.
Yeah, and that's always been he's always been a big watcher of the stock market. And that's always one of the first things he mentions whenever he talks about how well things are going. But the reality is, I think only about 40% of Americans are invested in the stock market. So that leaves out a lot of people.
Yep. As far as the stuff at home, I don't know. I really don't know how you can accurately poll independent voters other than a feeling. I guess you can wade into, the Democrats, are they more energized than Republicans? And then you can make assumptions, but it's pretty hard to, today's polling business is pretty hard to reach people, in a pretty much, smartphone society. I mean, the day of talking to someone on a phone about a poll are pretty tough to do these days.
Oh, absolutely. The traditional landline survey is very difficult. I have a number of friends and colleagues, political scientists who are heavily involved in the polling business, and they lament how difficult it is, how expensive it is to do a truly good poll. And I have some colleagues around the country who are working on things like how do you better model turnout in a cell phone society, or are there ways that you can poll over the internet that will be more accurate? But it's always hit or miss. In the end, it all comes down to how good your turnout model is in terms of how candidates are going to do.
All right. Anything else catching your eye as we get going on a Monday?
Well, I think everyone's the heat wave. I think is I don't know if it's catching people by surprise, but it really is. Every day I look at the temps coming up for the 4th, and it's a few degrees higher. So I just we'll be interesting to see what kind of an impact that has on a holiday weekend in terms of what people do outdoors. But
I don't know how familiar you are with places like Plum Island and North Shore of Boston beaches, and I don't know what this means for places like Rye. Good luck trying to get into Petey's.
Right.
But listen to this one as the heat wave comes. Millions of gallons of raw sewage flow into the Merrimack River. I think out of the Haverhill area are closing because of the Merrimack River flowing up by places like Plum Island and I would assume Newburyport, but flowing up. I don't know if it's going to impact us, but the break occurred in Haverhill in a pipe that carries wastewater from the main pumping station to the treatment plant. So in the last 10 hours, they're reporting that a lot of these North Shore beaches are being ordered to be closed. And this is at a time where 2 days from now, it's going to be 97, 100 degrees.
Yeah, that's a big curveball. People like to get to the shore to stay cool.
And I don't know how quickly I'm on a, water, or what do you call it? Waste pipe treatment expert, but I don't know how quickly they can. It shows beach closures at Salisbury Beach, Sandy Point Beach, and Ipswich, Plum Island, and Newburyport following the sewer main break. So that's a tough
Wow.
timing with this
That's
heat
a
wave.
big area.
Well, you
Yeah.
think of all the people when that heat comes, where are they going to go? And if those beaches are closed, watch out. You talk about Rye having a problem with parking spaces. You ain't in Hampton Beach.
Yeah.
Hampton
Yeah.
Beach. You haven't
Get
seen
pinched.
anything. All right, Dean. Thank you.
Okay, take care, Jack.
All right, we come back. We'll introduce you to our friends at one of the great community colleges here. Doug Tangden, World Market Advisors. Hey, Alexa, hey, Google, play the Pulse of an Age. Back in a moment.
This is the streaming news talk station. This is the Pulse of New Hampshire. Good morning, New Hampshire, from the New England College Studios. Now back to Jack Heath on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Yeah, I just was putting the pieces together. A few people do that these days. I kind of connect the dots, as Tom Raffio, one of our partners and sponsors, says. And I'm looking at this story out of Haverhill, Mass, in the Merrimack River, and these sewer water main pipe the burst there and pumping this raw sewage into the Merrimack River. And you're like, why is Jack talking about this? Well, if you look at the temperatures on Wednesday and Thursday, starting tomorrow, Thursday is going to be near 100. My Swampscott High School common sense questions that I talk about on my show a lot, when I used to get in trouble with teachers, when I put my hand up and said, that doesn't make any sense. What do you think that's going to do to Hampton Beach and Rye on Thursday and Friday going to the 4th if those beaches in the North Shore of Massachusetts are closed. Oh my goodness. You think Rye's been having a problem with parking spaces. Oh my goodness. They're going to be lined up all the way down. It'll be like a parking lot, but hey, maybe they'll get it fixed, but I don't know. It's a lot of waste going in there. Hey, we're going to switch gears. We have great representatives from, you've heard me say on the show for a number of years now. I think the future, this will ruffle feathers in Durham and Plymouth and Keene. I think the future of our higher ed system in New Hampshire, at least the growth curves and the demand and the solutions and the affordability, is our community college system. I love our four-year universities. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I've had kids go through those, and I've written plenty of checks to both, but I'm just looking at the trend lines in places like the Lakes Region Community College in Laconia. They have an incredible stuff going on there that should be a model for our four-year universities. And we have Patrick Kate, the president of Lakes Region Community College, in our studios with one of his great colleagues who's doing some great work with partners. How are you, Mr. President?
Wonderful. Thanks for having us
I'm
on.
going to ask you to get closer to that microphone.
Sure,
there.
no problem.
So you're doing okay?
Yeah, we're doing great. The college has had just a couple of years of really steady, impressive growth, and not only in our degree programs, but also our non-credit to really help people upskill or upskill their life either as well when we have a summer series. So there's a lot going on up at Lakes, and we're really proud of the work and the engagement we have with the community.
Well, I'm just curious, because we have our friends on from New Hampshire Technical Institute talking about this. We have 7 community colleges in the state. I think they're phenomenal because you can get an associate's degree in 2 years and get a 6-figure job within a year or two and never look back.
That's right.
What kind of growth are you seeing for demand? I'm just curious because you're probably looking at lines.
We are. It was enough where I asked my institutional researcher to double check the numbers because they were so strong. We're up probably about just north of 40% in 3 years for credits generated, and in about 25% in head count. And we're seeing it come in, and what makes me feel really good about the program is easy access and low cost is one thing, but are they staying and finishing? And our persistence rate continues to go up year by year. So I know that it's not just the low cost, it's actually the value of a quality education.
And the innovation to take that degree and continue or tie another one in. But, and I love Durham. Both my kids went to UNH. I love it. Our flagship. In all due respect to the president of our four-year universities, they can't say they're seeing 40% growth year over year. I'm sorry, but they can't. They're trying to stay flat and not lose.
And I think that's going to require us to have a comprehensive look of how do we do education. And so we've really been partnering up with Plymouth. Obviously, we're close to there, to making sure that our degrees, so that we can provide that opportunity for New Hampshire residents to continue to get that continuing education. For example, for our fire science program, we simply shared a faculty member. So that way a student who comes in at fire science at Lakes can go all the way through UNH's fire program. It's really going to take us to work together to come up with something great.
Well, I get yelled at by some people who kind of run the state whenever I raise this, but put the community colleges right together with the universities physically, put them all together. Hey, real quick, you got a great colleague, introduce him, and he's doing some great stuff, I think, with partners out there in terms of private sector.
So Steve Tucker has been our director of workforce development for about two and a half years. And we have seen 3x growth in our workforce development under his leadership. So I really am excited for him to kind of talk about some of the great things going on.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Tell us about what you're doing and why it's working.
Well, we have some great people at Lakes Region Community College. And when I first took this job, the person who was in this role previously was only part-time. And the president and his staff recognized that there was great opportunity in the world of workforce. And so we've got some incredible partners.
Explain how this works, Steve, because when you say workforce, the listener is driving in right now and out there listening online or in their car and AMF, and they're like, I don't know what does he mean? Explain it.
We have,
in layman's terms.
Sure. We have a lot of programs that will get people ready for career or upskill themselves in a job that are generally short-term and non-credit.
And you're working, can you give us some examples, like specific examples of where you're connecting these dots?
Sure. So one program that we have is a medical assistant program. And after somebody takes a course, it's a hybrid course for a series of about 14 or 15 weeks, they can become a certified medical assistant, which is there's a huge need for medical assistants in the healthcare system in New Hampshire right now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like nursing, there's a demand, whether it's I was at the VA a few weeks ago and they're looking to hire X number of nurses and med techs and all these stuff. What other sectors are you seeing demand in the private sector where you can hook it up to programs in your community college?
We have an advanced manufacturing program that's a credit program, but we also offer non-credit opportunities. One area that's a great need in the advanced manufacturing sector is CNC training. And so that's a training that we'll do both on site, and we also do what's called a customized training, where we train people to do CNC operator work, but the needs of a particular company might be unique. So right now we're working with a company in the Lakes region that is looking at what we typically offer, and they're going to customize a curriculum and ask us to deliver it in the next month.
I don't know why I get the sense. Do you have a corporate background?
Most of my background is in education.
Education. You
Yeah.
seem like you're someone who came in from the corporate side, but you're very well suited, it seems, to work with these companies. Do these sectors approach you, or do you go after them? I mean, how do you, like the med tech? There's a demand there. There's a need to get more people to study and then get into that field. How does that work? Does one lead the other, or is it kind of synergistic? Just kind of they go together. I mean,
I like the word synergistic. I think it's important that we're out and about getting information from the workforce with different organizations and different events, but we also try to make ourselves available to people so they can contact us. So we have a great relationship with Concord Hospital, which has 60 different sites around the state of New Hampshire. Huggins Hospital.
up
And
in
others.
Wolfboro. And
Correct.
Aaron Hahn in our studios on the marketing and business side. Synergistic, Aaron, is a term that talks about common flows between two entities with the form one river. Because you looked at me like, what? No, I'm kidding, Aaron. How does this make you feel, Mr. President, to have someone like this working in these sectors and you can focus on getting people and students in seats?
Well, and for me as the leader of the college, to watch not only the growth, but the impact of the community is just the hugest part, right? So when we look at workforce development, if we're a community college, we need to serve the whole community. A lot of folks don't need another degree. Maybe they already have one. We have folks with master's degrees coming in doing some of those programs. We need to serve the whole community, and this is just huge for the workforce development.
Are you seeing age differences on this 40% growth? Are you seeing students no longer, 18 to 21, but 28, 31, 26, 41, 51, 39? Are you seeing ages all over the map of people changing gears?
We are, and actually an age group you didn't mention, which was the under 18. We've been doing a great work with our high school partners to do early college, and at graduation this year,
I heard about that.
I was able to hand a couple of diplomas and a couple of certificates to students who hadn't quite finished high school yet at the same time. So we're really seeing a gamut from, I would say, 16 all the way up to 60.
J-Dog, you remember, what was the interview we had on the other day where they were talking about a student, maybe it was New Hampshire Technical Institute, like you, Patrick.
Could be, yeah.
Who was graduating high school, got their high school degree and their associate's degree, and was on their way to Notre Dame. I'm like,
That's
oh my
right.
goodness, what a story.
We have one of our graduates last year just finished her first year of med school. She got her associates with us, got her bachelor's, came back, did a 1-year program in paramedic, and now she's getting a medical degree.
So like a med tech, is that a 2-year associate's degree?
No. For a medical assistant, you mean?
Yeah.
15-week program.
That's
What?
it.
Yep. 15 weeks.
15 weeks of your life.
Yep.
Okay, let's stay on this for a moment. Aaron, this is synergistic, okay, buddy? 15 weeks to become a med tech. Now, help me out one more step. I've been to enough doctor appointments and I've had enough, ultrasounds, MRIs, like all of us. Med tech, would that be kind of the person who's working on test, lab stuff? What is a med tech? Administrative? Is it like if you're working with a radiology group as a med tech, what is a med tech?
So it ranges. And so
Like a
if
technical
you're,
medical assistant.
yeah, absolutely.
But
So,
what field? I mean, what areas of medicine?
so there are some that work for specific areas of medicine, and then there's some who work in smaller healthcare organizations that do a variety of tests. So they're the person on the ground working with patients, and there's a variety of ways that could look.
Okay, so I call it my dumb UVM math thinking here. No offense, I love University of Vermont, but let's stay with this. 15 weeks, you can go to Lakes Region Community College for a med tech program. You're probably going to get a job before you finish. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Wow. Now, here you go, parents. Get the kids out of the house. Here you go. Here's an opportunity. 15 months. It goes quickly. Okay, so your kid or an adult gets this degree. Roughly, on average, give or take 5 to 10 grand, would the starting salary be with a med tech degree? Just ballpark.
The starting salary would be in the mid 20s, low to mid $20
So it is
an
on the-
hour.
Oh, okay. But
Yep.
Yeah, so
annually, with overtime, people work hard, good attitude. The second year,
40,000,
and then-
40,000 plus.
and are you seeing some people start with that and then getting another degree? Like I've heard radiology, New Hampshire Technical Institute has a medical imaging degree.
Right.
I've heard people that go into radiology can start with a bonus 75 to 80.
without a doubt. And I
Is that
think
right?
that's- yeah. And we're seeing that across the entire system. We've really tried to create a comprehensive healthcare program at each college so that we can work together. So some of the med tech programs and the rad tech programs out of River Valley, we're seeing all of those programs are so needed. And in fact, we probably could double them and still not meet the need.
Wow.
We're looking forward to working with industry partners to be able to recruit those students to fill those needs, because that's where we really need our help.
So all under the umbrella of workforce development with Lakes Region Community College, but 15 weeks. Do you have other programs like that are 15 weeks?
We have a number of them. The 12-week, I believe, is the CNC program.
What is that?
Takes you from basic design through production on a CNC program, and you can go right out into the field right from that. I think,
CNC.
yeah,
What is
the machining, computer aided. I can't remember what it
like
means,
a
but-
high tech machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
can.
And
produce
those can
things.
pay.
They pay
Those
very
can
good
pay
money.
Good
upwards
money.
of 45, 50 bucks. Someone was telling me in the automobile world. What's that?
Sig Sauer needs CNC.
All right. Well, they should be a sponsor then. Here, 6 Hour. They have. Get on that before you depart.
I'm just giving you an example.
That would be synergistic, I believe.
Yeah.
No, but I was talking to someone in the automobile world where today's mechanics, when you go to service your vehicle to get something fixed, the vehicles today are pretty much computers. I mean, you're not just taking the oil pan out.
That it is amazing. I when I was in high school, and not a lot of college presidents can say this, my brother and I did demolition derbies. So I thought I knew a little bit about cars. I walked in the other day to a faculty member teaching in our Toyota program, and there was a huge wiring diagram across the whole board.
Right.
And I said, "What car is that?" He said, "Pat, that's the key." These students are taking LiDAR classes, the sensory things. It is a technician. It is not turning a wrench. And they start with a job. When you apply,
Yeah.
we accept you.
But I
we
heard the
put you in
pay
position.
at some of these dealerships, well, we had Amanda Grapponi
Right.
Amanda Grapponi Osmore of Grapponi.
Yep.
And she's a great partner and sponsor and her team. And she was saying that what they really look for is some of these service high-tech mechanics today, if you will, technicians, to come in with an attitude to really want to work hard, be somewhat customer savvy, because they have service managers that might be dealing with the owner, but have a good attitude and work hard. And if you can show them within a year that you're one of those people, she says you can jump from 70 to 80 over 100 grand a
Easily.
year.
And we hear
Absolutely.
it. And I think that's the important part about the educational part is not
Wow.
only you getting that technical training, but you're learning how to think critically. You're learning how to communicate better in all of your other classes. So they're coming out not just with the ability to make sure that they're a good team member at the business, they're a good person for the business in general. And that's really the difference between getting an associate's degree in a technical field and then just learning on the job.
So if you're a private sector business out there, a partner, and they want to contact you, to work with you, what's the process? If I'm out there as a business owner, I come listen to these guys. It's interesting. I could use some of these, or if they had a degree that did this, I could hire X amount a year. When's the tipping point where you start looking at, and how should private sector people contact you?
If I can just go back
Yeah.
to what the president was saying about auto. So we got a pretty robust auto program that's well established. We just invested $100,000 from some money that was in the state budget for workforce of the community college system to train people in auto collision avoidance systems. So we're looking to get that up and running. But going back to your original question, I just want to try to add that if that's okay.
Yeah.
There's a variety of ways. So my number is on my signature line and my email. People call the college directly. They refer to me. And it's important for me to be out and about a lot. So I'm at chamber.
Maybe say your name again, your
My-
email, and then they can, I'll make a note of it too. We can
Oh, thank
post
you.
it. Yeah.
Sure. My name is Steve Tucker. My email is stucker@ccsnh.edu.
So Steve Tucker, you could call the school and just ask for you.
As for Steve, they'll
Absolutely.
get 'em.
And you too, Mr. President.
Yeah, you just come to our website at lrcc.edu. You'll be able to see not only our degree programs, but our workforce development offerings. We are offering the class, I don't know if it's happened yet, but this summer about upskilling your bartending skills. So it's for everybody, and
Yeah.
even that
Wow.
one just is fun.
There
so
you go, Aaron. Hey,
Yeah.
I was also wondering, Mr. President, if you had to pick, maybe you already did, top 3, whether they're 15-week or 2-year, what are your top 3 most, the biggest growth programs or demand in your courses?
Sure. In the last 3 years, we've seen our culinary program explode.
Wow.
It's really quite unbelievable. Our fire science is now back to where it was a decade ago. So that's now the largest program we have.
Wow.
And then it's a mix
Healthcare.
between healthcare, our nursing program. We increased the amount of nursing
Yeah.
spots we had because we know the demand is there as part of the RHT grant. There's so many different areas, but a lot of them, they're coming to us because they're outcome focused. They want to get into the career
Right.
field.
And I'm just curious, how many not full-time, but how many students going into this fall do you anticipate?
So I've learned that it's very difficult to say a head count, but if you count all of our dual enrollment and you count all of the ones that come to our campus, we're way north of 1,500.
Wow. Hey, Google, hey, Lex, by the Pulse of an Inch, we'll ask our guests to stick around and say hi to Doug Tengden, one of our economists, talking about the economic view. And we'll wrap up with them again and tell you how you can learn more. Lakes Region Community College, they're in Laconia, and check it out. We'll be right back.
News, information, and discussion. on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
All right, going to ask our friends from Lakes Region Community College in Laconia, the president, and really one of their lead workforce folks, Steve Tucker, to stick around and say hi to Doug Tengden, World Market Advisors up in Hanover, the Upper Valley, the People's Republic of the Upper Valley. I'm kidding, Doug. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, Jack. Looking forward to the warm weather where it may get up into the 90s up here. We typically are a little more moderate.
Well, good for you because you
hear
won't
that word with Hanover.
You won't be in Rye, New Hampshire, where you won't be able to find a parking space. So you're up in Hanover. Hey, real quick, because you have the economic stuff, and we have a minute. So I have the president of Lakes Region Community College and one of their lead folks who works with workforce development. And they're telling me some stuff here, Doug, that is mind-boggling on their growth each year, like a 40% growth in demand for more people coming in for these programs. They have some 15-week programs for like MedTech and these other programs. And talk about the future of higher education in New Hampshire. And you know what I love, Doug, and your love is Steve is connecting with those private employers that need and want these degree recipients to come in. And I said in the MedTech program, Steve, just curious, in a given semester, how many MedTech students would you have?
Anywhere between, we run it 3 times a year, and anywhere between 4 and 8.
Okay, and they're pretty much going to be all hired before they graduate.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing, Doug?
That's amazing. That's truly amazing. And it's all about having, up-to-date skills. The world is changing so dramatically that these medical companies are hiring. I mean, Johnson & Johnson is increasing their employment. Merck is increasing their employment. Even UNH is increasing because they have the earnings, they have the market, the economy is reasonably strong, and they're looking for qualified people. So you're absolutely right.
If it's reasonably strong, why do so many people feel like they're not getting ahead and not enough money to pay everything?
Well, we have this affordability issue, Jack, which we've talked about. And I'm going to say the word that you hate, but the stimulus from COVID.
No, you can't say that word anymore. Don't tell me people are still living off stimulus, Doug. I get some oceanfront property for you in Ohio.
It pushed the prices up.
Oh no, I agree with that.
You have an increased price level, which puts particularly real estate, which has all these regulations.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I do, but not on groceries. When I go grocery shopping this afternoon, and for 2 people, it's $200 for a few days of food. I mean, don't blame COVID on that.
No, but some of the cost structure has filtered into that. So the cost of fertilizer filters into the price of eggs, the price of chicken, the cost of the cost of feed filters into the price of milk. The cost structure shifted higher, and while the inflation rate has moved down, the price level is now at this higher level until you see deflation, which nobody really wants deflation, but the wages for a while were keeping up, and then the wages have stagnated.
So I have a quiet brother-in-law, and I have a lot of loud brother-in-laws, but my quiet one is rather cerebral, and he reads and studies a lot. And we were sitting around this weekend just talking, and I go, I don't know if in our lifetime, which means, maybe the next decade or two, that we're going to see what you and I would call like affordable living. I'm more pessimistic that there's no quick fix here.
No, there's no quick fix, but you also have to look at, the housing expectations of people buying their starter home. When I bought my first home, it was
I agree on housing.
square feet and 1 bathroom.
I know.
And now people want 3 bathrooms and 2,500 feet in a starter home. In Rye.
Duly noted. You can go on to Zillow or Realtor and say New Hampshire under $500,000. And there's a lot of homes, but people may want that $900,000 home in Stratham. All right, Doug, listen, I'm going to let you go. Thank you. WorldMarketAdvisors.com. Enjoy the heat.
Yeah, Jack, have a great warm week.
Yeah, he still didn't tell me why chicken thighs are $10 a thing. Hey, Patrick, Mr. President, Lakes Region Community College and Steve Tucker, best way, and I'm going to put a pitch out because we do have a lot of listeners who are very interesting. I mean that. Business owners, people who've moved to New Hampshire, Lakes Region, we got a lot. We have 2 FMs and 3 stations up there and streaming. So if you're listening and you have something to offer Lakes Region Community College, and it might even be a donation, but you want to get involved, reach out and meet with these folks. They're a wonderful place that's helping connect, the workforce with students of all ages and walks of life.
And one of my most favorite parts of my job is I'll take community members around, and every time they walk through that campus, they go, "Oh my God, I had no idea what was behind those walls. Come on up and see us."
How
please."
can they contact you?
So come right to our website on lrcc.edu. You will see my email right on the president's page. Please, get a hold of me. I'm open to have anybody come here. I want you to see
And
it.
truth be told, before we went on, he said, "Jack, you haven't seen the campus lately. Come up for lunch." He's that way. But, again, someone who's listening, they might live in Moultonboro. They moved here. They want to get involved. They may have done very well in life, financially speaking, and they're sitting there. No offense, you can't play golf every day. Or maybe you can, but your game won't get better.
Right.
You might not be able to fish every day. So get involved in that school. Go down there and maybe teach an adjunct professor a couple days a week. Or, no offense to Harvard and some of the Ivies. And my late dad did go to that Harvard one in Cambridge. But make a donation to this school. $100,000 there is going to go a lot better than Harvard. Trust me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate
Hey,
it.
Alexa, Google play the Pulse of an H. Alicia Preston Xanthopoulos, was there vandalism on the reflecting pool? I can't even figure that one out. Back in a moment.